I was in seminary, I recall a time when I was very jealous of who is now the pastor out at Brookville, in St. Michael's in Brookville, Father Sean Danda. I was very jealous of him when we were in seminary. And it was one summer where he was assigned to Saints Francis and Clare Parish, which is just south of Indianapolis in the Center Grove area. And he was assigned to a priest there, Father Vince Lampert. And Father Vince is our exorcist priest in the Archdiocese. I was jealous of him because there was the possibility that he might be able to attend an exorcism with Father Vince. And I had always wanted to do that. I'd always wanted to kind of be on the front lines, face to face with Satan, face to face with evil, and just doing battle right there. And sure enough, Father Danda did. He did attend one of the rites of exorcism that Father Vince was having that summer for a parishioner in the Archdiocese. And of course, I hope we all know that these things do happen. People really do become possessed by evil, by demons, by Satan. And this can oftentimes happen by our own doing, where we as people or Christians mess around with things way beyond our control. Things like Ouija boards or tarot cards or fortune tellers, that we are engaging with spirits and powers that are much more powerful than us. And that was what happened to this parishioner. But as I said, I was very jealous of Father Danda. But as I progressed in seminary, and as I came to know more about the priesthood and certainly about the ministry of the exorcist, I came to find out, and any exorcist priest will tell you, it is not the person that is the priest, or the person of the priest that is doing battle with that demon. It is Jesus Christ. It is Jesus Christ working through the priest in that moment, just as our Lord did in today's gospel when he expelled that demon. In fact, no person can confront evil directly except for Jesus Christ. And again, as any exorcist will tell you, in order to battle evil, you can't go to it directly, but rather the best offense, the best battle plan against evil is a good defense. The best offense to battle evil is a good defense. That is how we battle evil as mere mortals. These past couple of weeks, as I was away on vacation, I had a lot of time as I was just ice fishing, so staring at ice holes all day long. I had a lot of time to just simply reflect. And these past couple of weeks, there were a few people, a few men important in my life and in my vocation, two of whom passed away this past week, and one of whom was just diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer and will pass away in the next few weeks. So I had a lot of time to reflect on their life and the impact that they had on my life. And there were men who formed me and other men like me and women like me in that great, the best offense is a good defense when it comes to battling evil in the world today. The first is Archbishop Daniel. As many of you know, Archbishop Daniel B. Klein passed away last week. He is the previous archbishop of our archdiocese. One of the great things that will mark the legacy of Archbishop Daniel is Catholic education. When Archbishop Daniel arrived in the Archdiocese of Indianapolis, Catholic education was on a very steep decline. We were losing students and Catholic schools were waning. They were quickly becoming unviable. And we were thinking about having to close a number of them. But Archbishop kind of doubled down. And under his time, enrollment increased by 30%. By the end of his tenure, we had over 25,000 students enrolled, and we were increasing at that time in Catholic education. Archbishop Daniel saw the need the necessity in today's world in our archdiocese, the need for Catholic education, the need to train young minds and hearts in that great school of the best offense is a good defense when it comes to battling evil. Raising them up and forming them in virtue, introducing them along with their parents or with the aid of their parents to the life of Jesus Christ and life and grace in the church. This stands as one of his greatest legacies of teaching young minds and hearts that the best offense when it comes to battling evil in the world today is a good defense. Another man was Father Bill Bear. And Father Bear was the rector or the priest in charge of the college seminary that I attended at the University of St. Thomas. And when I arrived at St. John Vianney College Seminary, we didn't have very many guys. We only had about 53, 54, 55, right in that range, about 55 seminarians in the college seminary. We had so few that we didn't need one of the floors. It was actually empty. The fourth floor of the seminary was completely empty and vacated. By the time I graduated, we had grown over 100%. We had grown to about 115 seminarians. The year after I graduated, we actually had to rent an entire apartment complex to house all the extra seminarians. And the reason for this was because Father Bear didn't have some vision of he just wanted to form men for the priests or for the priesthood. Rather, his vision was just simply about forming men, forming good Catholic men, and raising them up. He didn't care one way or the other if any of us ever became priests, as long as we were doing what the Lord wanted us to do in our vocation. His goal was simply to raise up young men in their Catholic faith and being strong, loyal Catholic men, whether we were husbands and fathers or priests, and giving us all a formation in a good offense. The best offense is a good defense. He wanted more Catholic men in the world knowing how to do battle with evil by guarding themselves against it. And the third guy was Dr. Don Briel. And Dr. Briel was a Catholic professor at the University of St. Thomas. He was a theology professor. And ironically, at St. Thomas, the theology department wasn't all that Catholic. And Dr. Briel kind of was a little bit of a black sheep in the theology department. So much a black sheep that at one point in the 1990s, he actually decided it was time to form a separate Catholic department at the University of St. Thomas, which was a Catholic school, which at first seemed kind of scandalous that there had to be a Catholic studies program at a Catholic university. But what Dr. Briel founded in his vision was a department where you could major in Catholic studies, but you weren't allowed to just major only in Catholic studies. You had to major in business or education or philosophy or marketing or whatever. You had to have another major. And the whole idea behind Catholic studies was that as you learned your craft, as you learned your trade, and you graduated and went out into the world, everything would be done from that foundation of our Catholic faith. It would surround and inform everything that we did, whether we were businessmen and women, teachers, lawyers, engineers, marketing professionals, or priests, that this department was there to help inform everything that we would do with our Catholic faith. When it started out, it was not a very popular major, and by the time I graduated, it was the third largest major on campus, the Catholic Studies program. All three men knew well that the best offense is a good defense when it comes to evil, because we cannot confront evil directly. And we look at the world around us. Just about a week ago, we had another school shooting in Kentucky. We have still many women coming out and telling us about how they were abused and assaulted by men in power. We still have an enormous drug problem in our community. This past week, we remember the anniversary of Roe versus Wade And now we have had 60 million abortions in our nation, all with the blessing of the legal system in the United States. People are still dying of hunger and starvation. All these examples of evil that continue to happen in our community, that continue to happen in our nation. And yes, there are times when we have to go out and confront some of this directly through protests. But as ever and as always, the best offense when it comes to evil and the manifestation of evil, the best offense is a good defense. And how proud we can be to say that we are and we do have a good defense here at St. Gabriel Parish and St. Bridget Parish. That we are raising up young people through Catholic education, that we are forming families in the Catholic faith, that we are helping each other create a good defense so that we can take it to the world and take our families and our lives to the world and truly do battle against the evil that we do encounter each and every week in our midst. This day we give thanks, especially first and foremost for our Catholic school, which is raising up young people. We give thanks for all of our teachers, for all the administration of our school, but especially the parishioners of St. Gabriel Parish. I had mentioned how supportive Archbishop Daniel was of Catholic schools, and certainly our Catholic schools would not be in the place that they are today without him. St. Gabriel's School would not be in the state that it is without you, our parishioners, our parents, our families of St. Gabriel Parish. This is our mission. We cannot go out and just confront Satan head on. We are not powerful enough to do that. The best way to confront Satan, the best way to confront evil, is to continue to raise up and form young men and young women through our Catholic schools and through our families in the way of faith.